Let's talk about the Plate Builder. Arkitex Plate Builder is used to build page templates that allow pages to be formatted with the page and the position of any plate elements that may be needed for the finished plate. Plate Builder can be configured to build a one-up or broadsheet, a pair of 2 pages, like a tab, if a para license is purchased. Likewise, a 4 or an 8-up if an imposer license is purchased. To open the Plate Builder module, click the Plate Builder button on the Arkitex console or from the Start menu. You will first see the splash screen popping up saying Starting Plate Builder. When Plate Builder is opened, a user login may be required to gain access. In this case, one of the user login which was set up from the console configuration user logins menu covered in another video would need to be entered. In this example, we will use the user that was added to the system when the system was built. For the username, enter in user1 with the password of ACFA. The first requirement is to specify some general settings. Select from the menu bar view, then Settings, and a dialog will appear. In the upper left of the dialog box labeled Units, this is used to set the unit of measurements that you can use, whether it be millimeters, centimeters, inches, or pixels. For this example, we will use millimeters. Below that is the Colors box. This allows the user to choose the colors displayed on the screen during Plate Builder operations. Pages and components for which no preview is available may be defined and will, by default, be displayed in green. Areas of the incoming page chosen by the user to be erased will be displayed by default in pink. Non-printable areas of a plate are displayed by default in lavender. To change any of these color displays, click on the color and choose a new one from the palette. On the bottom area is the guides used in the Plate Builder operations. It may be changed, and the related snap value, which defaults to 8 pixels, may be increased or decreased. Guides may be set to display on top of or below page previews or components when the template is being created. They will not be displayed on the soft proof or output. They are used only to help line up the position of the components in the template. On the top right is the Select the 0, 0 position. That defines the relate reference point that applies when positioning pages or components on the plates. By default, this is the bottom left corner of the plate. The custom button will be highlighted if setting is reviewed after the user has defined a custom 0 point during Plate Builder operations. We will use all of the defaults, so press the OK button to close the dialog. OK, now we are going to build a 2-up tab template. We are going to assume the following sizes. The plate will be 386 millimeters wide by 630 millimeters high, with a non-printable area of 12 millimeters on the top and bottom of the plate and right to the edge of the plate on the left and right sides. Each image that will come in will be 285.75 millimeters wide by 292.1 millimeters high and centered in the image area with the same margins on both the left and right sides. The head of the images needed to be 48.9 millimeters from the left-hand side of the plate, and because the left and right margins are the same and the sum is what is needed for the center margin, the pair needs to be positioned so that the fold is 315 millimeters from the tail or bottom of the plate. We will also need to add some plate components, like a registration mark on the top and bottom of the plate, a plate color ID, the output file name, and the time it was output. Okay, now that we have the skeleton of the template, we can start to build it. The first piece of information required by Plate Builder when defining a template is the size of the plate, and that may be selected in a number of ways. 1. Choose File from the menu bar, then New or Objects on the menu bar, then select Plate. 2 is to hit the shortcut key F2. A third way is to choose the Select Plate option from the toolbar. All longhand operations on the PlateBuilder screen menus can be also selected from the toolbar. The icons, reading from left to right, indicate Create New PMT, Open Existing PMT, Save PMT, Link PMT, Cut, Copy, Paste, Undo, Redo, Select Plate, Select Page, Add Component, Add Text, Add Barcode, Move, Crop, Flip, Rotate, Erase, Remove, Zoom in, Zoom out. The pull-down menu at the end of the toolbar indicates the item currently selected by the cursor. Having chosen Select Plate, click the New Plate button. The plate size to be defined may be used for a number of different publications. Be careful to specify a plate name that is meaningful for all operators at a site. The maximum width and height is 1,200 millimeters each. Any non-printable areas of the plate are defined by setting margins. For our example, for a plate size 386 millimeters times 630 millimeters with a non-printable area of 12 millimeters at the top and bottom, we simply specify width of 386, height of 630, 12 millimeters in the top and the bottom text box, and a plate name of single. Click the Add button once the plate definition is complete. To edit a plate definition, highlight the plate definition and select the Edit Selected Plate button. Make the edits required and click the Update button to save them. To delete a plate definition, highlight it and click the Remove Selected Plate button, the one with the red cross. Once a plate definition has been created, it may be displayed by double-clicking on the icon on the Select Plate screen, or by highlighting the plate definition icon and selecting Open. We now have a layout of our plate that is 386 millimeters by 630 millimeters, and the non-printable top and bottom margins, 12 millimeters in each case, are shown in lavender. The red triangle at the bottom left of the plate indicates that this is the 0, 0 position in relation to the positioning of the page on the plate. This is the default setting. It may be changed in View Settings to one of the other three corners of the plate. A ruler is displayed along the top and left of the work area. The ruler is displayed by selecting View from the screen menu and Show Rule, or by selecting Ctrl-R. This works on a toggle basis, so the ruler disappears if the selection is repeated. When the plate is selected, on the left-hand side, the plate area measurements are specified in the Properties box. The measurements of the plate may be changed by keying new values into the text entry boxes under Properties. The next piece of information required when creating a template is the position of the pages on the plate. The soft proof of an existing typical page from a publication may be used as a placeholder. For example, to add press marks or delete unwanted marks that are incorporated at the originating front end, a blank dummy page may also be defined to use in the template if the required size is known, as we are going to do. Click Select Page on the toolbar. To use a dummy page, select the Non-Received tab and specify the width and height of the expected page. So we enter 285.75 for the width and 292.1 for the height, and hit the Add button. A green box is displayed on the workspace. When the page is selected, its details are reflected in the Properties box. The top, left, bottom, and right positions relate to the distance from the bottom left corner of the plate, which is the 0, 0 point in this case, as indicated by the red triangle of the plate. Now we need to move the image box to where it needs to be and to change the orientation. On the left side in the property box, you will see a button with an AB on it. This, when clicked, will show 16 different orientations, 8 with a white background and 8 with a black background. The 8 with the black background will make the image a negative of what it is. In this case, we need to rotate the image negative 90 degrees. So look for an AB that is rotated with the head of the AB to the left and click it. You will see that the AB in the property box is now rotated, as well as the AB that is on the image box, and that the image height and width exchange places. To move the image box, click with the left mouse button so that the hand clenches to a fist, and drag the page to the required position. Or if we know the positions from 0, 0 position of the plate, we can enter that information in the property box. So we know that top left of the imaged page needs to be 315 millimeters from the bottom and 48.9 millimeters from the edge of the plate. We can enter the value into the bottom and left text box in the properties box. Enter 315 into the bottom text box and 48.9 into the left text box, and the image moves into position. Okay, now we can make a new image box like we did before, or we can copy the image box that we have and reposition it. To copy it, you right-click on the image box and select Copy. Then right-click someplace off of the box and select Paste, and a copy of it will now be somewhere on your workspace. But this one will have a number 2 next to the AB. The numbers are very important because this is the order that the system will lay out the incoming pages. So in an 8-page publication, this template will lay page 1 in the 1 position and page 8 in the 2 position. Okay, you may be saying, okay, that is right, but what about the 2-7 page? We take care of that in PlateBuilder when we lay out the publication. All we are doing is laying out the positions of the page components. Now we will position this image the same way we did the first one. Enter 48.9 in the left text box like before, only this time enter 315 into the top text box. So now we have a plate template that can be used to do tabs without any components. By selecting the Add Component icon from the toolbar, we get a dialog that will show you a listing of all the components that are in the system. As we said when we defined the specs for the template, we needed to add 2 registration marks, one on the top and the other on the bottom center. Looking at the list of components, we see a file called 1270 Reg Mark. Select it and click Add. This will place the component on the template in the center. Now enter into the top position text box 622.041 and 184.376 into the left text box. This will move this component into position. Now we can go and add another component for the same way, or we can click on the component we already added and right-click and select Copy. Then right-click anywhere else on the template and select Paste. With the copy highlighted, enter in the top and left text boxes 15.92 and 184.376. Okay, now we need to add something on the plate to identify the color of the plate. We can do this in two different ways. One way is to add a text identifier to the plate or add a component to show the color. Because we will be adding text to identify the file name of the plate, let's add a component for this exercise. So click on Add Component, and the dialog box from before showing all of the components again, you will see 4 files named 1270 CMYK. Hold down the Control key and select all 4 files. Over on the right side, hit the Generate button under Composite Preview. This brings up a dialog box showing all 4 files, one in each pane. Under each file name is a pull-down menu. We will need to make sure that the color in the pull-down matches the color of the file. Next, hit the Create Preview button, and the system will generate a composite preview of the 4 files. Click Exit to close the dialog box. Checking the checkbox for Change Per Separations will tell the system you wish to have a different component printed on the plate depending on the color of the plate. You will note the file name will have a highlighted letter for the color in red. This informs the system of the position of the color identifier. If the highlighted character is not pointing to the color identifier of the file, you can use the color ID Start Spin Box to change the position of the identifier in the file. Now click Add to place it on the template. And like before, we enter in the values to position it on the template, which is 8.43 for the top and 315 for the left. Now let's add a file name of the plate as a text component. On the menu bar, you have an icon that looks like a capital T. Click on it to bring up a dialog box. On the top is a text box of what would be displayed for this component. You can add anything in here you like, and it would be printed on each plate. Below that, in the variables pull down, are any variable that can be generated from the system. For our example, we are going to use the sheet output file name. So pull down the list and find sheet output file name and select it. You will see that it was entered into the text box. Now click Add, and it will be added to our template. Enter into the X and the Y, 50 and 621, to position it on the template. You will do the same thing for any other text annotations that you wish to add, like record time, and position it 275 and 621 to show the time that the plate was recorded. So now we have a fully working template to be used in all publications. All that we need to do now is to save it and give it a name. Under the File menu, you will find Save. Select it to give you a Save File dialog box like any other program with a Save feature. You would give it a name and the directory to save that in. For any template that you make, the system will put you in the correct directory. So just give it a template file name and leave the file extension as is. In this example, we will give it a file name of 50 tab. And we are done. There are a lot more components and variables that can be added to your template and are covered in the online help and manual or classroom training.